cathedral dome itself. It will be made of copper, gilded with amalgam of mercury.
You couldn't call the riggers and have them come do it for you. You had to do it all yourself from memory with the skills you had learned. So he picked up an enormous amount of not only artistic training, but practical engineering training and mechanical training, just being part of the studio.
Leonardo studies the Cara Granda, or Great Hoist, which will lift heavy objects to the peak of the dome and the swiveling crane at the top. This early exposure to mechanical engineering will have great influence on his later inventions. In Verrocchio's studio, Leonardo sees how his talent might allow him to escape the limitations of his bastard origins, and he is about to have his first taste of the world he aspires to. Verrocchio and his students are invited to bring their best work to the Medici Palace to prepare for a visit from the influential Duke of Milan. According to 16th century Italian biographer Giorgio Vasari, Leonardo has already distinguished himself.
The greatest of all Verrocchio's pupils was Leonardo da Vinci, who, beside beauty and grace, had a power of intellect that whatever he turned his mind to, made himself master of.
Leonardo, portalo a me!
In the grand house, the young men will see how wealth and beauty come together in the homes of the very powerful. An inspiring lesson for all of them. But the arrival of the Duke of Milan provides an even greater inspiration for Leonardo. As the Duke, the patriarch of the Sforza family, parades into Florence, Leonardo watches from the cheering crowds. Like Leonardo, the Duke is an outsider with no pedigree, and yet he is at the pinnacle of power.
The Sforzas in Milan, they are actually the descendants of condottieri, of mercenaries, who at a certain moment in time moved from being hired soldiers into actually marrying into the political lineages and then actually coming into control of Milan.
Leonardo cannot help but be inspired. In the Duke, he sees a man who has overcome his common origins, achieving influence and success. To do the same, Leonardo knows he must use every advantage he has.
He was supposed to be extraordinarily handsome, very concerned about his looks, always dressed very well, supposed to be enormously strong. They said he could bend horseshoes with his bare hands.
People just immediately liked him when they met him because he had this kind of undefinable quality to him that made people be attracted to him. And that's also a quality that is described in Leonardo's art.
Though it is too early for Leonardo to know it, his fate and his future will hinge on the Sforza family as he uses his charisma and his talent to build a better life. Leonardo is now 20. He completes his apprenticeship and has finally joined the guild as a painter, a huge step into the world of professional legitimacy. He can now seek high-level commissions on his own. But something holds him back. Da Vinci stays in Verrocchio's studio. Perhaps it is loyalty. Perhaps he is still unsure of his abilities. But he stays.
The advantage there is he doesn't have to go out and set up by himself. There's every indication that Leonardo is temperamentally unsuited to opening his own shop.
Usa un tocco leggerissimo qui Leonardo, leggerissimo.
We can see a large number of commissions for paintings being, at least in part, turned over to the young Leonardo, so that he's a serviceable, adaptable, younger partner in the firm.
And as he works, Leonardo's reputation grows, even reaching the attention of the Medici family.
In the case of the Medicis and Leonardo, it appears, though, that they recognized very early on that this guy had great talent, and he was going to exceed his mentor and exceed his fellow students, and so they took a particular interest in him.
Here in the workshop as Verrocchio's protege, Leonardo's first great work emerges. It is considered the oldest surviving Leonardo painting. The angel on the left, far in the corner of Verrocchio's The Baptism of Christ, is only a fragment, a tantalizing glimpse of the genius to come. It is only the mediocre pupil who does not surpass his master, Leonardo writes. And legend has it that Verrocchio, after seeing Leonardo's angel, never painted again.
These are all qualities that you can look at that painting today and you can see that's the hand of somebody else, some exceptional painter who really is not present in the rest of this painting.
Leonardo had an incredible ability to see motion and to capture motion in his paintings. For example, the ringlets of hair, which have a kind of bounce or spring. He was able to suggest that with paint in a way that no one else really could.
Talented, connected, attractive, Leonardo knows what he wants and is on his way to securing it. But the jealousies and envy of others, anonymous voices and accusations will put at risk all that he has built and threaten to send him back to oblivion. In a little more than a decade, Leonardo da Vinci, at age 24, transforms himself from the bastard son of a notary to a legitimate artist recognized by the Medicis, the most powerful family in Florence.
Florentines are very competitive. It's very, very frustrating to be an artist in Florence, but also competition makes things better, makes you do a better job as an artist.
In Verrocchio's studio, his persistent experimentation with paint and technique sets him apart. This commitment becomes a vital part of his code, a way to push ahead of his competitors who are better educated. He records his thoughts in his notebooks.
I know that I am not a man of letters. Experience is my one true mistress, and I will cite her in all cases. Only through experimentation can we truly know anything.
Leonardo sets up this opposition between authority, which is transmitted through books, and people like himself, these maverick figures who operate outside normal professional boundaries, who investigate, who take things apart, see what they're made of, to see how they work.
A man of unusual sensitivity, Leonardo cherishes nature and will not eat meat, refusing to be a tomb for other creatures. To him, nature is the ultimate machine, and he holds its mysteries in respect and awe. He spends his life trying to discover how it works. The movement of clouds and water, the mystery of birds in flight. Science, nature, mechanics, Leonardo pictures them as one entity, to be captured through his creative life. Nature is one thing, human nature something else. The success that has lifted him above his bastard status has also earned him envy and resentment. Dark forces move against him. Oblivious to any danger, Leonardo throws himself into new experiments to understand the nature of light and shadow. He examines the fall of candlelight on fabric and how the human eye records it. His notes reveal the importance he places on these studies.
Nothing can be recognized without light and shade. It is only through the eye, the window of the soul, that we can truly understand the complex workings of nature.
He would have these casts made of draped fabric and move the lights around, set the candles in one position, look at the shadows, sketch it out, move nothing else but the light to somewhere else, and sketch the exact same piece of fabric again that hasn't moved. The only thing that has changed is the interplay of light and shadow on it.
But in 1476, envy and betrayal catch up with him, born in the hands of the Night Watch, the dreaded secret police of Florence.
Messer Leonardo Da Vinci.
Siamo delle guardie notturne. Siete accusato di crimini contro Dio. Dovete venire con noi.
At 24 years old, Leonardo is anonymously accused of sodomy with a 17-year-old male prostitute.
For repeat offenders, there could be prison terms and execution. The official penalty for sodomy was burning. It was to be burned to death.
The humiliation is brutal. Nothing, he writes, is to be feared so much as a damaged reputation.
The fact is, it does affect him. He was a proud individual. He's a proud young man. He knows he's going someplace. And a charge like this could really have set back his career.
But at the trial, no evidence is brought against him. No witness is presented. The charges are dropped. The cruel act of an anonymous enemy. But dark days are just beginning in Florence. Political storm clouds gather as deadly forces move against the Medici. Florence is nearly surrounded by the territories of the Pope, which extend south to the city-state of Naples and north to Ferrara. But this realm is not enough for the avaricious Pope Sixtus IV. The Pope conspires to expand his power into northern Italy, into the lands held by the Medici. To break the Medici stronghold, Sixtus finds an eager ally in rival banker Francesco de Pazzi.
Ed io, Francesco de Pazzi, presterò a voi I soldi necessari ad estendere le terre papali.
The Pope transfers his accounts into the coffers of the Pazzi family bank. But the Pazzi want more than the papal account. They want the Medici out of the way. Forever.
The Medicis needed money in their banking system. The Pazzis needed money in their banking system. And when the two of them were vying for what little amount of money there was in Italy that was not already spoken for, that's when problems occurred. And that's when we get to violence.
It is Easter. In celebration of the Prince of Peace, the Medici take their personal seats across the aisle from the Pope's henchman, Francesco de Pazzi. They have no idea of the danger they're in. At a prearranged point in the Mass, it begins. Young Giuliano de' Medici gets stabbed savagely 19 times and bleeds to death on the cathedral floor. His wounded brother, Lorenzo, barely escapes. With the Pope behind them, the Pazzi family believe they will get away with their plot. They are dead wrong.
The Medici's supporters quickly rally, and the Pazzi uprising is put down with extraordinary violence.
Lorenzo's counter-strike is swift and merciless.
We get a sense of the Medici's power in the outcome of the murder, the immediate retribution. There was no rights for the criminals. They were dispensed with, and they were dispensed with in a very public manner.
That very day, Francesco de Pazzi is hanged alongside a co-conspirator, the Archbishop of Pisa.